right, I see that y'all have made up your mind. And I'm not trying to convince y'all otherwise. Y'all feel like Shakur Stevenson is going to beat Teofimo Lopez. Fine, fine. Okay. I'm not trying to convince y'all otherwise. But I just want your narrative to coexist with the reason of your pick. All right? I want your narrative of Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson to coexist with your pick. You pick Shakur, I pick Teo. Okay. So let's just get these things out of the way. The number one narrative, right, when it comes to Teofimo Lopez is that Teofimo Lopez fights to the level of his competition. Am I right? Right? I think we all in agree, right? Okay. So, what is Shakur Stevenson? High competition, high skillful fighter, high accomplished fighter, pound for pound worthy of a type of fighter. So, if you believe in the narrative that Teofimo Lopez fights to the level of his competition, wouldn't you pick Teo because you know how he's going to show up versus a high caliber pound for pound type of fighter? But wait, I ain't trying to convince you otherwise. I'm just saying, I just want your narrative to coexist with your pick. You know what I'm saying? Let's move forward, right? Shakur Stevenson is a way better defensive fighter than Teofimo Lopez. Well, there's a difference. There's a difference between a great defensive fighter and there's a difference between a fighter that's keeping it safe, trying to stay safe. So let me give you an example. Teofimo Lopez's worst night was the George Camboso, right? It was the worst night. Worst night, right? I think a lot of people have agreed with that. His worst night was versus George Camboso. And many will feel that Shakur Stevenson, I did a poll in my community, that the William Cepeda victory was his best victory. His best victory. Well, see, this is the difference between great defensive fighters, right? And I'm not saying that Shakur Stevenson is not great in the defensive end. Let me tell you like this. Shakur Stevenson is a great fighter. You know what I'm saying? Highly accomplished. I'm a fan of the skills and talent of Shakur Stevenson. Anybody that's been following the channel knows this. But we're just comparing Teo and Shakur. So, Shakur Stevenson, arguably best performance was William Cepeda. On Shakur Stevenson's best night, and on Teofimo Lopez's worst night, Teofimo Lopez do not get hit like Shakur Stevenson's best night. On his worst night, he doesn't get hit like Shakur Stevenson on his best night. The numbers speak for itself, ladies and gentlemen. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't, right? Okay. And if you look at the last three fights, you know, the narrative is that Shakur Stevenson is a way better defensive fighter, right? And Teofimo Lopez get hit, yo, you see the marks and stuff like that. Even though that he's light-skinned, and light-skinned fighters will always show more than the darker-skinned fighter. Hello, come on. That's self-explanatory. But anyway, I'm not trying to convince y'all. Y'all pick. I just want your narrative to coexist with your pick. So if you look at the numbers, ladies and gentlemen, just look at the last three fights of each fighter, right? Shakur Stevenson versus William Cepeda got hit 272 times. 272 times. Good defensive fighter. See, that's the difference. When Shakur Stevenson take risks, then that defensive wizard goes out the window. See, Teofimo Lopez always take risk. Out of the two, Teofimo Lopez is more comfortable, more confident in the offensive and defensive end. Teofimo Lopez is more of a complete fighter than the Shakur Stevenson. And let me break it down. I'm not trying to convince y'all to alter your pick. I just want your narrative to coexist with your pick. See, Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson, we expect the expectations of both fighters is kind of different. See, when Shakur Stevenson fights, your expectation of Shakur Stevenson is that he's gonna have a 12-round bout. He's gonna win by points. He might shy away from taking risks, but he's gonna be smart. He's gonna stay out of the way. He's gonna play it safe. That is the expectation of Shakur Stevenson. You don't expect Shakur Stevenson to knock somebody out. You don't expect going into watching a Shakur Stevenson fight that he's gonna hurt his opponent, break down his opponent, bloody his opponent up. That's not the expectation for Shakur Stevenson. So in that case, you there's limitations to your expectations. But with Teofimo Lopez, you expect not only for him to outbox his opponent because you already seen at the highest level over Say Lomachenko and Josh Taylor, and we're gonna break those narratives down as well. But you've seen him win his world title versus Richard Comey, a second round KO. Throughout his career, spectacular performances, showboating, explosive performance, displaying the speed and power, athleticism, and the IQ, and outboxing his opponent, counterpunching, and all of that stuff at the highest level, right? So you have expectations. So when a Shakur Stevenson go 12 rounds, regular. If Teofimo Lopez goes 12 rounds, you're gonna question Teofimo Lopez. What happened to his power? Because you know that. If you watching both bags, Teofimo Lopez bags of the skill set and tools, and Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez bag is heavier than Shakur Stevenson. Thus, you know that he's a better all-around fighter because of the bag. You expect more because of each bag. Your criticism is higher on Teofimo Lopez because you expect more from Teofimo Lopez. Do you understand? If Shakur Stevenson doesn't knock out an opponent, you're not going to question, yo, where's Shakur Stevenson power? You don't care because that's not what you expect, right? You only get, even when we talking about, let's say, like us, like regular people and stuff like that, you always going to get frustrated with whoever you deal with, relationship, friendship, when they don't meet the expectations, right? Because you know what they're capable of doing. That's like if you have kids and your kids don't do what you taught them, and morals and principle and chores, and you will get mad more at your kids than another person that, you know what I'm saying, that probably don't have that expectation. When you have multiple kids, some kid is smarter than the other one. Some of your kids may have one of your kids may have one IQ better than the other one. So you expect more from this person. You don't from this son or this daughter. You don't expect from the other one to get it like that, right? So the same thing with Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson is limited compared to Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez could win in every way at the highest level, whether it's knockout, whether it's power, whether it's outboxing. With Shakur Stevenson is limitations, right? It's like Michael Jordan and Dennis Rodman. They both great basketball players, but you only look at Dennis Rodman for rebounds and defense. When you look at Michael Jordan, you look at him for scoring, defense, clutch time, leading. The expectations is different. The expectations of Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson is different, if you understand what I'm trying to say. The expectations are different. So the criticism, right, goes to the guy that you expect more from because they have the skills to do more. Okay, let's keep it going. Hey, I'm not trying to convince you otherwise. I just want your narrative to coexist with your pick. Okay, right? So let's keep on going with the numbers, right? So Teofimo Lopez versus Arnold Barboza. He got hit 71 times. Shakur Stevenson with Cepeda got hit 272 times. Now look at Pat Lee. Pat Lee wasn't even a 12-round bout because he knocked him out. Pat Lee landed 66 shots. Coming out from work. He didn't even go to training camp for damn Shakur Stevenson. Let's be real, let's be honest. Claggett, 140 shots. Threw 120 shots on 17%. The Barboza, 16%. Jermaine Ortiz versus Teofimo Lopez, 19% landed 80 shots, and Artem landed 17 shots. 74 shots on 17.5%. So look at the percentage. Nobody lands on Teofimo Lopez over 20%, right? We've seen 17% with Shakur, 17% of Pat Lee, Cepeda, 27.8%. Look at Barboza, 16%, 17%, 19%. So, what is this narrative of, oh my God, yo, Shakur Stevenson is a way better defensive fighter than Teofimo Lopez? No. See, the more that you take risks, the more you're going to be subject to be countered, right? Even Oscar Valdez landed more than 110 shots on Shakur Stevenson. So arguably what Cepeda and Oscar Valdez is the best performance and stuff like that, right? In the end of the day, see, T.O. take risk, but he's more confident that when he throws his shots and sit on his punches, that he's gonna get out the way, he's gonna catch, he's gonna roll, he's gonna shoot. He's showing you the shoulder roll, the catch and shoot off the shoulder roll. He's showing you the George Foreman cross arm. He's showing you varieties of way of how he the way he parries the jab is better than all these guys, the way he parries the jab and counters. And you could slow it down. Just do your film study. But I'm not trying to convince y'all. I'm just letting you know the numbers as well. So there goes the defense narrative. I could say the defense is pretty good by both. But the difference is that Tio risking more. So Tio should be subjected to get hit more. But see, when Shakur fights and take risks like a Tio, he gets hit all over the place. Tio, he take risk. Let me ask you a question. Do you think if Tio, with his athleticism, like we all seen that he does have, he's a freak when it comes to athleticism, right? If he fights like Shakur or Haney, you don't think he could do whatever? You don't think he could fight like these guys? You don't think he could get away? You don't think he could run away from like Edo De Los Santos? But I'm not trying to convince y'all. You know what I'm saying? When it gets tough, Teofimo Lopez fights back like that. Like when Vasily Lomachenko was rallying up, Teofimo Lopez know how to fight back. Even in his worst day, Teofimo Lopez dropped George Kambosos. I know y'all always shame him with George Kambosos, but in the championship rounds, he even dropped him. When the tough gets going for Shakur Stevenson, he runs. Do you think that Tio will run? I'm not trying to convince y'all. I just want your narrative to coexist with y'all pick. Let's go with the other narrative. Give me 1 second. We got the Teofimo Lopez is bad fighting boxers. Oh, I've heard this enough. Because I always want to bring the Jermaine Ortiz and the Sando Martin. But let's be real, let's be honest. One, Tio beat Jermaine Ortiz and Steve Clagg, and he beat Sando Martin. But he's bad with boxers. What is Teofimo Lopez's greatest victories? Vasily Lomachenko, Josh Taylor, that's the two-time lineal champion, pound-for-pound fighters at the time when he fought him. Would you consider Lomachenko a slugger? A slugger? A brawler? Or one of the high technical fighters of this generation with great footwork? No? He's a brawler or a boxer? Oh, he's southpaw too. Josh Taylor. Brawler? Slugger? Technical fighter. Oh, he's southpaw too. You know what? Isn't Shakur Stevenson a southpaw? I'm not trying to convince you. I just want your narrative to coexist with your pick. So, Teofimo Lopez's best victory was versus Vasily Lomachenko, Josh Taylor, both pound-for-pound fighters, both accomplished fighter, and both southpaws. Shakur Stevenson, a pound-for-pound fighter, southpaw. Teofimo Lopez fights to the level of his competition. Teofimo Lopez's best wins versus southpaw. Do you know in the amateurs, including with the amateurs and the professional level, Teofimo Lopez never lost to a southpaw? I'm not trying to convince y'all. I just want your narrative to coexist with your pick. Anyway, so since y'all say he don't do well with a boxer, yet shame him with George Kambosos, wouldn't you say that the style that Teofimo Lopez got problem with will be with a George Kambosos type of style? Come on now, don't contradict yourself. A lot of y'all shame him with George Kambosos, right? But it was George Kambosos that got the split decision victory over Teofimo Lopez. So wouldn't be that the style that you will want Shakur Stevenson to bring to the table to beat Teofimo Lopez? Because Jermaine Ortiz didn't beat him, Sando Martin didn't beat him. Isn't that a loser's blueprint to beat Tio? It's a loser blueprint. It ain't beat Tio. But Kambosos was successful. The reason why y'all don't mention George Kambosos and the strategic and the style that Shakur Stevenson could implement is because y'all know that it was a fluke. So y'all don't want to mention George Kambosos. Because even if there was a rematch, I know you will pick Teofimo Lopez to stop George Kambosos. But y'all could keep on shaming Teofimo Lopez, George Kambosos. I know it. Y'all get a kick of it, but y'all don't truly believe in your heart that oh my God, George Kambosos would beat him in a rematch and stuff like that. Y'all should be saying, yo, Shakur Stevenson should do what George Kambosos did. Throw some combinations, go after Teofimo Lopez, you know what I'm saying? Stay in the middle of the ring and stuff like that. Why you don't say that analogy? Because Jermaine Ortiz running shit wasn't victorious. Sando Martin running shit wasn't victorious. But anyway, I just want your narrative to coexist with y'all pick. Let's go with another one. Shakur Stevenson got a better IQ than Teofimo Lopez. Oh, really? 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 How do you determine whether a fighter got a high IQ? Wouldn't you have to showcase your intellect at the highest level? So let me ask y'all, who has a better resume, Shakur or Teo? Who has beaten the better competition? Teo or Shakur? Come on, self-explanatory. Teofimo Lopez beat the better competition at the highest level. So at the highest level, when he beat Vasily Lomachenko and Josh Taylor, Barbosa was a great victory as well. Y'all thought that he was gonna have a tough time. Boxer, undefeated. How he do? How is his IQ at the highest level? Reason why he's two-time lineal. He beat the guy to beat the guy. He beat the man to beat the man. Pound for pound, guys in their prime, right? If it wasn't for the politics of the sport of boxing, Teofimo Lopez, by the age of 25, will be recognized as the first two-division undisputed world champion in the four-belt era. Y'all already know what happened with the WBC franchise. Y'all can laugh all y'all want, but y'all know the truth as a boxing fan. You know that the WBC did dirty to Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez and the networks as well. And then we all know leading up to the Josh Taylor fight, Josh Taylor vacated all his strap. He was undefeated, undisputed. He kept the lineal champion. That's the reason why Teofimo Lopez is a two-time lineal. And Teofimo Lopez beat him when y'all thought that he was going to lose. Now, if y'all know that Teofimo Lopez fight to the level of his competition, and y'all know he proved y'all wrong with Vasily Lomachenko, and he proved y'all wrong with Josh Taylor when he's the underdog, why would you pick? I'm just saying, I just want your narrative to coexist with y'all pick. Haven't y'all learned? Believe in your own narrative, so make the right pick within the narrative and your belief of Teofimo Lopez, right? So how is it that Shakur Stevenson got a better IQ if he never tested at the highest level like Teofimo Lopez and never passed with flying colors like Teofimo Lopez? Who got a better IQ? Who's really a better defensive fighter? Not a guy that's playing it safe. The best great defensive fighter and playing it safe is totally different way. Totally different things, right? I'm gonna give you an example of fighters that was known for offense, but great at defense. But their offensive was so entertaining and the offensive was so good, people skipped the fact that there was also discipline in the defensive end. Mike Tyson, the peekaboo style. Mike Tyson barely got hit young when he was a heavyweight, as a heavyweight. Peekaboo style, slipping, getting out the way, and countering. Roberto Duran was a great defensive fighter as well in the lightweight division, right? James Toney, great defensive fighter, but very offensive as well because they are confident equally as an offensive fighter and defensive fighter. They're complete fighters. Teo is more complete than Shakur Stevenson at the highest level in every category. Yes, because there's limits to Shakur. Remember, you don't expect certain things. Teo could do it all. He showed you he could outbox the high class fighters, pound for pound caliber at the highest level. He could outbox them. He could hit less than them, right? And he could hurt them. Remember, he became a world champion by knocking somebody out. Teofimo Lopez is the only fighter of this young generation that he didn't get elevated as a champion. He didn't pick up a vacant strap. He beat Richard Comey, a respectable champion, knocked him out. He unified the titles with Vasily Lomachenko, the guy that was regarded pound for pound number one, and he went up a division and defeated Josh Taylor. How Shakur Stevenson got his first title? How Shakur Stevenson got his lightweight title? Compare Teofimo Lopez with his contemporaries. How did Tank got his first his titles? How did Devin Haney got his first title? I'm not trying to convince y'all. I just want your narrative to coexist with your pick. Feel me? So I got Teofimo Lopez beating Shakur Stevenson. I think it's going to be a wonderful technical fight, but I got Teofimo Lopez because I expect Teofimo Lopez to have the bag to adjust to whatever Shakur Stevenson throws at him. He's in his prime. He got great momentum with the Barbosa. I believe that Shakur Stevenson got good momentum with the Cepeda as well. But is Shakur Stevenson going to fight Teofimo Lopez like he did Cepeda? If Cepeda could tag him, you don't think that Teofimo Lopez is more accurate? I'm not trying to convince y'all. I just want your narrative to coexist. Teofimo Lopez. In conclusion, let me tell you the difference between what I was talking about, that the difference between the expectations you have for Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson. When Teofimo Lopez fought Steve Claggett, look at the numbers. He threw almost 900 punches, staying in the ropes, playing around with him, easy. A lot of people were saying, no, Teofimo Lopez, bad performance. What the hell was that? What the hell was that? When Shakur Stevenson fought the same way versus William Cepeda, staying in the ropes and stuff like that, y'all said, what a wonderful performance. The expectations and their standards are different. You understand? See, if Teo does what Shakur does, is the worst shit you ever saw. You get it? When Shakur does what Teo did versus Claggett, is the best thing you ever saw from Shakur Stevenson.
Oh, let me add this. You know what? I think some of y'all picking Shakur Stevenson, or most of y'all picking Shakur Stevenson because Teofimo Lopez is unpredictable. It's because you don't know which Teofimo Lopez is going to show up, like we said in the beginning of the video. You're playing it safe. You really don't want to do your due diligence and your study. You want to play it safe because you know what to exactly expect from Shakur Stevenson. But yet you don't know which Teofimo Lopez is going to show up. But the reason why you don't know which Teofimo Lopez show up, because that bag is full. He's a complete fighter that could win any other way. Every other way. The other?
Ladies and gentlemen, the reason why you're picking also Shakur Stevenson to beat Teofimo Lopez is because you're comparing the worst of Teo versus the best of Shakur. That's the issue. You're analyzing the worst Teo versus the best Shakur. But if you analyze the best Shakur versus the best Teo, common sense will tell you, I'm not trying to convince you. I just want your narrative to coexist with your pick.